Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Glasgow Times Sports podcast, normally recorded in our studio at the Bishopbriggs Media Centre, currently recorded from our volunteers' homes. To keep in touch with us, use our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, which are all at Q and Review. That's CUEANDREVIEW. Or get in touch via information@qandreview.com. That's information@CUEANDREVIEW.com. Please like and share our podcasts and give us any constructive feedback.
Evening Times Sport, July 12. Aaron Ramsey rejects Turkey move. Report by Ewan Payton. Aaron Ramsey's preferred destination this summer is to move back to the Premier League, according to a report. The Welshman, it has been said, has rejected a switch to Galatasaray. The former Rangers loanee is still under contract at Juventus. However, the Italian giants have been clear that they are looking to move the ex-Arsenal star on. He spent the second half of last season on loan at Ibrox. With just under 12 months remaining on his Juve deal, the Serie A side are looking to offload the Welsh international. Galatasaray made an offer for Ramsey. However, the report states that Ramsey has rejected that move as he favours a return to the Premier League. But he has still yet to receive an offer that would see him on his way back to England. Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, July 12th. Yanis Hagi, Rangers injury latest. Jorge Hagi insists son Yanis is progressing well in his recovery from his serious knee injury after Rangers boss Van Bronckhorst confirmed he will be out for the rest of the year. The Romanian starlet underwent a knee operation after suffering the injury in a Scottish Cup win against Stirling Albion last January. Ibrox boss Van Bronckhorst revealed this week he did not expect to see Hagi back before the end of the year. He said, "It is a very complicated injury. He will not be able to return before the break for the World Cup." And the former Real Madrid and Barcelona star insisted his son's timescale for return is not a surprise to him. He said, "All of the media in Romania were in a hurry and said that he will return in August or September, that he will play for the national team in September, no problem. The truth is, he will return when he is 100% ready. It was not easy at all for him. He had a pretty serious injury. But things are going very well at the moment, and when there is an opportunity for him to get back playing, he will get back playing. We will just have to see when it will be. I cannot put a date on his return." Report by Mark Walker. Evening Times Sport, July 12th. Kyogo is even a step ahead of Celtic teammates, says David Turnbull. Report by Graham McGarry. The movement of Kyogo has left many a defender dizzy since he burst onto the scene at Celtic last season. But his speed is such that it is often difficult even for his own teammates to keep up with him. David Turnbull linked brilliantly with the striker on Saturday night for two of Celtic's goals against Rapid Vienna, the midfielder finishing a lovely first-time cross from his forward before turning provider for Kyogo to slide the ball home from inside the box. Turnbull has revealed, though, that it has been something of an education for him trying to simply predict where Kyogo might go next, but their understanding is building the more they play together, and he is sure the combination between the pair can be a fruitful one for Celtic in the coming season. Said Turnbull, I played with him all of last season, and I love playing alongside him. We had a good partnership then, and against Rapid we linked up for 2 of the goals. He's a joy to play with. It's great to know that he will make the runs in behind, and he can find me as well. I think just his movement and his runs and behind are brilliant. Sometimes he's even one step ahead, I feel, and you can't get the ball through to him. If you play it early, though, he's always onside and ready to be there. On a personal level, Turnbull himself is looking to cement his place in Ange Postecoglou's starting 11 after a hamstring injury disrupted the second half of the last campaign. Postecoglou relied heavily on Turnbull in the first part of the season before adding attacking reinforcements in the January window. But even with that added competition for places, the former Motherwell man is backing himself to make a regular impact. He said, I feel you need to do your best to step up every game, and every week you need to keep trying to improve, whether that is in training or on the pitch during the games. Everybody is fighting for that place in the team, so you need to do your best every game, and that's what I'm going to try to do. I want to improve, and I feel I'm improving every week and in every game. That's what I want to do, and I feel I'm bringing a lot to the team. Hopefully, I can bring more goals and more assists, whatever it is, and defensively work as hard as I can. I just try to contribute to the team, and if that's scoring or creating goals or whatever, it's just about doing my best for the team, and if they come along, then I'm happy with that. One thing that Turnbull has certainly learned since making the move to Celtic is that cut and thrust competition comes with the territory, and it is a vital part of Postecoglou's plan to ready the side for the challenge of Champions League group stage football. Said Turnbull, I think we can take it on another step. We've obviously got Champions League football this year to look forward to, and doing our best in the league. We'll be looking to do that, as we did last season, and just perform better and better in each game. It's as strong as the squad has been. We've seen that this pre-season. We had 2 teams in the 245s against Rapid, and everybody is ready for their mark. It's good for everybody in the team to have that competition, and it's going to be tough for everybody. I think it will push up the level again. Boys will step up the standards in training, and on the pitch and off the pitch the boys will be doing everything they can to get into the team. It's great for everyone, and for the manager. It will be tough for him to pick. It will be great to be playing in the Champions League. I think it's everybody's dream to play in the Champions League. Going straight into the group stages will be a very hard challenge, but all the boys are really looking forward to it, and I can't wait. In the immediate future, Turnbull and his teammates will look to take their pre-season preparations up another notch when they come up against Banik Ostrava tomorrow night, with a sellout crowd of 15,000 expected for a match to mark their centenary. He said, We're feeling good. It's been a good pre-season camp over here. The facilities are great, and we've been working hard every day. We obviously had the first game the other night, and then Rapid, and both have gone well, so we're looking forward to the games coming up. For fitness, I would say it maybe is better not to have early qualifiers, because we can have a lot more friendlies and boys can get minutes in their legs. We are looking forward to the first game of the season, and I think we'll be in a better place. Report by Graham McGarry. Evening Times Sport, July 12th. Matt O'Reilly aiming for World Cup place. Report by Graham McGarry. With the greatest of respect to MK Dons, the rise of their former captain Matt O'Reilly has been a remarkable one over the past 6 months or so. Not only has the young midfielder become an integral member of the Celtic squad, but he may well find himself at the World Cup come the end of the year. It has been a lot for the 21-year-old to absorb, but he has managed to take it all in his stride, from proving he had what it takes to hold down a regular place in Ange Postecoglou's team, helping them to win the Scottish Premiership, to embracing an opportunity he has been given to play international football with Denmark's under-21 side. He now believes that realising his dream to play in the World Cup may be close, but as you might expect, given his level-headed nature, he is firmly aware that the key to catching Danish head coach Kasper Hjulmand's eye is to focus on giving his best at Celtic on a daily basis. Said O'Reilly, "It has been a crazy few months, to be fair, with the Denmark stuff included. In football, you don't really know what to expect. You can be playing in one league and end up in another, so you don't really know what could happen. The first few weeks I was a bit shocked by the fans, 50,000 every week, but after that it feels quite normal, which is nice. I feel I am playing at a comfortable level for myself, which is positive. I feel really settled, which is the main thing. I don't want to say this is an arrogant way, but I was at Fulham for a long time. I turned down a contract there because I didn't feel it was the right pathway for me. I have been playing with good players from a young age, which is good, and helps you when you transfer to a big club like Celtic. From a quality point of view, I felt I fitted in well in training. I trained with the Denmark first team for a few days, and I really enjoyed that. Playing for the 21s was also a proud moment for me, because I got to see my family, and it was great for my mum. It was cool, and has been a great experience. Everyone is really friendly, and it is a lot like Celtic, because everyone welcomes you. It is down to me. If I can do well, then I think I will have a good chance of making the World Cup squad. There is a lot of football to be played. I will concentrate on Celtic, and we'll see what happens." O'Reilly, of course, won't be the first Danish international player to turn out for Celtic if he does indeed make the full squad in time, and a former Celt has been a good sounding board for him over the past few months in Morten Weghorst. Weghorst spent 7 years at Celtic in the 90s and is now the assistant manager of the Danish senior national side, giving O'Reilly a useful insight into what it takes to make an impact with both his club and his country. Said O'Reilly, "I spoke to him 2 or 3 times. He is a really nice guy. I had a meeting with him after the Bodo Glimt game in February. I went for lunch with him and the under-21 coach. He is a really nice and down-to-earth guy, and you can tell he has Celtic background. I spoke to him out there as well. It is good to have somebody to talk to." Report by Graham McGarry. Evening Times Sport, July 12. Welsh fans will be excited to see Lawrence and Matondo in action for Rangers. Report by Ewan Payton. Welsh fans will be full of excitement to watch Tom Lawrence and Rabbi Matondo in action for Rangers, according to former Dragons hero Nathan Blake. Lawrence joined the club last week. The 28-year-old was drafted in as a replacement for Joe Aribo, who completed his transfer to Southampton over the weekend. Matondo has yet to join Rangers, but is expected to link up with his fellow Welshman this week in a £3 million deal. And Blake reckons the pair's potential exploits at Ibrox could see Lawrence and Matondo force their way into Rob Page's national team squad for this winter's World Cup in Qatar. He told the Scottish Sun, "It's brilliant for Welsh football. Two lads playing at the highest level in Scotland. I would prefer them to be playing there than in Belgium, for instance, and that's no disrespect to Belgium. But I know the Scottish League, and I know it's a tough league. OK, one of the top two tends to win it, but it's competition. If you're at Rangers, you still have to beat Celtic, and winning and drawing isn't really good enough. It's a mentality you have to buy into. I used to do a bit of agent work, and I always told the kids, if you're going to Scotland, no disrespect to other teams, then you've got to play for one of the big two. Whether it's Rangers or Celtic, it's the pinnacle of Scottish football. I just think it's brilliant for Wales. These two guys could be there together now. But more importantly, it's brilliant for those players to have that sort of opportunity. Tom is experienced and a very good player. He'll do brilliantly for Rangers. I think he is an underrated player. He's a better player than a lot of people give him credit for. I have touted him for the Welsh squad, and why he hasn't been in it more, I'm not sure. I understand the situation at Derby, and he might have had one or two issues himself, but I think it's a great chance for him. If he can go and hit 15 goals, and he's more than capable of that, by the World Cup, even if he scores 12 or 13 and has 5 or 6 assists, he put himself in a great position to get in that squad. He was Flavour of the Month 2 or 3 years ago. He's proved himself at international level. Can he do it? Yes. Did he do it consistently enough for Wales? Yes. It's just unfortunate he's gone through a bad patch with his club. But I know Rob Page well. I know Tom isn't far from his mind. Rabbi is obviously on the edge. He's got to go and play well, score goals, assist, and make sure he puts himself on that flight to Qatar. It bodes well for Rangers and Wales. Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, July 13. Celtic target PSG midfielder. Report by Aidan Smith. Celtic are targeting a move for PSG midfielder Edouard Michut, according to reports. Sky Sports News says that Ange Postecoglou's side are preparing a £2 million bid for the 19-year-old. Michut currently plays with the French under-19 international side and has been with the European giants PSG since he was a youth. Meanwhile, Celtic are still in the driving seat to sign St Mirren youngster Dylan Reid. Speaking today, St Mirren boss Stephen Robinson said, "We are a club who have to develop players and we have to sell players. We believe Dylan is a highly rated young talent whom we can develop here. We are a club that produces players. It is an academy system that produces players. There are no fewer than 6 young kids training with us at the moment. For me, it is a very good club for players to develop. Dylan and his advisors and family have decisions to make, but I don't think he has to look too much further than here to develop. There has been a lot of talks, as there always is. You can't control that. He is a talented boy, as are a lot of young players, and talented players get recognition and attention. Some of it is true, some of it isn't. Report by Aidan Smith. Evening Times Sport, July 13. Antonio Kolak prediction after Croatian clinches Ibrox switch. Report by Chris Jack. Nikita Jelavic has backed Croatian countryman Antonio Kolak to follow in his footsteps and hit the goal trail at Ibrox after clinching his summer switch to Rangers. Kolak became Giovanni van Bronckhorst's first signing of the window when he completed a £1.8 million move from PAOK last week, as the Dutchman finally landed his man after a lengthy chase. The 28-year-old was handed his debut in the abandoned friendly fixture with Sunderland and will now feature against Blackpool, West Ham and Tottenham Hotspur in the coming days. Kolak spoke about the influence of Jelavic and fellow Croat Dado Perzo after putting pen to paper, and he now has the chance to write his own chapters in Ibrox history this term. Jelavic told 4 lads had a dream. First of all, I wish Antonio a warm welcome to the club. We can expect a hard-working player who can hold up the ball, who can link up the game, and of course score the goals. Antonio's style, first of all, he is a hard-working player. He's very dangerous in the 18-yard box. I think Rangers' style of game can be very good for him. Hopefully he can step up his physical game immediately. The nature of Scottish football requires maximum physical capacities. I am expecting him to settle in quickly. As he is 28 years old, we can say that he is at his best stage. He also has Borna Barisic and Nikola Katic to help him settle at the club, so should not be an issue to fit in instantly. Every Croatian has done well at Rangers in the past, not just Dado and myself. I don't see why Antonio won't do the same. I am sure he will do the same for the club. Antonio already showed during his career that he can bring goals. Now it remains to be seen how he will develop. But certainly I want him to score as many as possible for Rangers. Report by Chris Jack. Evening Times Sport, July 13. Antonio Kolak ready for Morelos battle in Rangers attack. Report by Chris Jack. Antonio Kolak is relishing the competition for places at Ibrox as he goes head-to-head with Alfredo Morelos for a Rangers starting spot this season. The Croatian made his debut for Giovanni van Bronckhorst's side on Saturday night as he started against Sunderland just days after clinching a move from PAOK. Kolak will get another chance to show supporters what he can do when Rangers face Blackpool this weekend, and fixtures with West Ham and Tottenham are also on the horizon ahead of the new campaign. Van Bronckhorst will back the 28-year-old to hit the ground running this term as he continues to wait for Morelos and Kemar Roofe to get up to speed following their respective injury concerns. And Kolak is confident he can quickly slot into the Light Blues attack as he sets his sights on a starting spot for the Premiership opener against Livingston and upcoming Champions League qualifiers. Said Kolak, every league is different and I have to adapt to the Scottish League. I just have to prepare properly, and I know I will. I want to play for Croatia. I qualified with them for the World Cup, and that's a big target at the end of the year for me. But first I have to do my work here at Rangers. If you are playing at big clubs, then you will always have quality players in each position. There is always competition. There is always a lot of pressure. But I am looking forward to working hard and improving. I want to be successful. Everybody wants to be successful. Alfredo has scored a lot of goals over his time here at Rangers, and I want to bring that myself. Report by Chris Jack. Evening Times Sport, July 13. Callum Davidson vents Premier Sports Cup frustrations. Report by Aidan Smith. Callum Davidson has vented his frustrations towards defender Daniel Cleary following St Johnstone's Premier Sports Cup penalty loss to Annan. The Perth outfit finished the game with 9 men after Cleary and midfielder Cammy McPherson were both shown straight red cards. Penalties followed, and Annan ran out winners after both Michael O'Halloran and Andrew Considine missed for Saints. Speaking after the match, Davidson said, "We gave a team an opportunity to get a result in the game from our lack of discipline. I'm furious with it. I am not accepting it. This is an important competition for us. We have given ourselves 60 minutes with 10 men in our first game. For me, it's like playground football. Dan Cleary's red was a little melee, but you have to keep your hands down. As soon as you put them up, you give the ref an opportunity to send you off. We were in full control. After that, Annan made it extremely difficult by getting men behind the ball, but we did have chances." Cleary's dismissal was as clear a red as you will see, but the same cannot be said for McPherson's. Davidson added, "The second sending off was more dubious. Cammy slid in, the other boy jumped, and they both tried to pull out. Both will be suspended, which is the knock-on effect. I've just said to them we'll need to win all 3 games to give ourselves a chance. I believe we've got the players to do that, but we need to make sure we keep 11 players on the pitch to do so." Report by Aidan Smith. Evening Times Sport, July 13. Jim Goodwin hopeful Louis Lopez can do for Aberdeen what Jota did for Celtic. Report by Frank Gilfedder. Jim Goodwin reckons Louis Lopez could do for Aberdeen what Jota did for Celtic last season, as the former prepares to make his move from Benfica to the Dons later this week. But the Pittodrie boss insists the £300,000 transfer fee reportedly paid for the 22-year-old striker, a star in the Lisbon club's B team, was hugely exaggerated, and although he declined to reveal the actual sum involved. The deal, however, has been done, and while Goodwin did not compare him to Celtic's £6 million attacker, he expressed his excitement at bringing him on board once visa protocols have been completed. He said, "He will score goals. He's had a really good education with Benfica and is only a year younger than Jota at Celtic. I'm not for 1 minute comparing him to Jota, but he's had a similar education in the game from an early age. So we're excited about him. He's still got a lot to learn, but I think the more attacking options you have as a manager, the better chance you have of winning games. He is a centre-forward, quick and strong, as well as being a powerful wee guy, and at just 22 years old, He's got a lot of development to do, but he fits in with our model and recruitment policy up to date, and one that we think will be another good addition at the top end of the pitch. Goodwin, ready to lead his team into Premier Sports League Cup action against Dumbarton, is set to bring in 3 more players before the league season gets underway, as midfielder Lewis Ferguson officially joined Serie A outfit Bologna in a £3 million deal. Iber Ramadani, the Reds' first summer signing from MTK Budapest, arrived in the northeast on Monday after a lengthy UK visa delay, and will go straight into the squad, as Goodwin sang the Albanian defensive midfielder's praise. He said, Radadani has come over in great shape. He's had constant contact with our sports scientist over the last couple of weeks, and he was given a fitness programme. Report by Frank Gilfeather. Evening Times Sport, July 13. Celtic skipper McGregor on revenge mission in Champions League. Report by Graham McGarry. Callum McGregor says that Celtic are hoping to pull Real Madrid out of the hat in the Champions League, with the club captain aiming for personal redemption against Luka Modric. McGregor has come up against most of the continent's top teams during his time with Celtic, but is desperate to tick off playing at the Santiago Bernabeu from his footballing bucket list. And he would also relish the opportunity of testing himself against Real's midfield maestro once again, after he put on a masterclass to help Croatia dump Scotland out of Euro 2020. When asked by Celtic TV who he was hoping to face, McGregor said, "Everybody keeps asking me that. I've played in some pretty big ones, but the ones I have not played yet is Real Madrid, and I think everyone will join me in saying that they want them in the group." Modric ran the show that day as well when Croatia beat Scotland, so I will try and get a bit closer to him. We are looking forward to it. Whoever we get, we know it is a big competition, and it will be a big test for us, so we have to be ready. Champions League nights are special. As a football player, it is the number one competition that you want to play. It's a huge, huge level and a huge challenge, and it certainly makes you a better player. I am excited for this group to go in and challenge ourselves at the very highest level. It is an exciting thing for the group, but ultimately we have to do the hard work, and that's the reward. Report by Graham McGarry. Evening Times Sport, July 13. Kerry Bowley lined up for Rangers coaching role. Report by James Kearney. Rangers manager Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is set to appoint Kerry Bowley as a first-team coach, according to reports. Bowley is part of the City Football Group, CFG, the conglomerate made up of Manchester City, New York City, Melbourne City, Yokohama F. Marinos, and Girona, amongst others, where he has been working as head of coaching support since 2019. Van Bronckhorst worked alongside Bowley at CFG for 6 months after departing Feyenoord in 2019, and The Athletic report that the Dutchman wants to add his former colleague to the Ibrox club's coaching ranks alongside Roy Mackay, Dave Voss and Arno Phillips. The report adds that the Rangers manager and Bowley were close during Van Bronckhorst's sabbatical, and that Bowley's role with the Glasgow club will be wide-ranging. Bowley, who has a PhD in sports psychology from Cardiff Metropolitan University, is expected to join up with the Premiership side in the next few weeks, the report concludes. Evening Times Sport, July 14. Rangers star Bassey, a transfer target for Ajax. Report by Ewan Payton. Ajax are reportedly interested in signing Rangers star Calvin Bassey this summer. The Eredivisie side are on the verge of selling star defender Lisandro Martinez to Manchester United. Erik ten Hag is looking to reunite with the Argentinian centre-back as part of his rebuild at Old Trafford, having worked with him in the Dutch capital. A deal has been struck between the clubs, with United set to pay £46 million for the 24-year-old. This means that Ajax need to replace the left-sided centre-back ahead of the new campaign, and it is said that Bassey is viewed as the ideal candidate to come into the team. According to TalkSport's Alex Crook, the Dutch outfit are looking to Bassey as a replacement for Martinez. The senior reporter stated on air that Rangers are hopeful of holding on to the player for another season. However, the prospect of playing in the Champions League with Ajax could be too much for the Nigeria international to turn down. The 22-year-old's dominant performances in the Europa League, including a Man of the Match award in last season's final, as well as impressive showings in domestic action for Rangers, has seen interest grow significantly in the player. No bid has been made yet, although, as per previous reports, Rangers are seeking £25 million for the defender. It remains to be seen whether Ajax are willing to fork out that figure, with Crook stating that they would prefer to pay a fee of between £15 and £20 million. Crook says Premier League side Brighton are also very interested in Bassey, and he was certainly on their list of potential targets this summer. Joe Aribo was sold to Southampton by the Ibrox club last week in a deal potentially worth up to £10 million. It remains to be seen whether any other stars in Van Bronckhorst's team will move on before the transfer window is over. Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, July 14. Celtic boosted in bid to sign Fausto Vieira. Report by Ewan Payton. Celtic are said to have received a boost in their hopes of landing Fausto Vieira this summer. It has been reported over the past few days that Ange Postecoglou is keen to add the 22-year-old to his squad. The Argentine midfielder is viewed as someone who can provide a different option in his squad, a player who offers a bit of bite in the middle of the park. A move for PSG starlet Edouard Michoud, while previous target Vinicius Souza signed for Espanyol last week. It's said that Vieira's club, Argentinos Juniors, are seeking around £5.5 million for their rising star. Bids from Corinthians and Belgian side Genk, worth in the region of £3.4 million, have already been booted out. Now it appears Brazilian giants Corinthians have dropped their interest in the player, which could offer Celtic a clear route in to sign Vieira. A report in Gazeta Esportiva states, "Whoever thinks there is a desperation for the player is wrong. Sources close to Gazeta Esportiva report guarantee that the club will not enter any auction in the negotiations." Corinthians hopes that the power to convince Fausto Vera will be greater than more economically advantageous proposals. A response is awaited by the Corinthians board for the next few days. The guarantee is that the proposal made for the Argentine midfielder is this one, and a bigger one will not even be discussed. Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, July 14. Connor Goldson given pillar label by Van Bronckhorst. Report by Chris Jack. Giovanni Van Bronckhorst has labelled Connor Goldson as one of the pillars of his side after he committed his future to Rangers ahead of the new term. The defender put pen to paper on a 4-year deal at Ibrox to give Van Bronckhorst a huge boost heading into the upcoming Premiership title race and European campaign. Goldson this week opened his heart on the decision to extend his stay in Glasgow, as he opted against a return to England and a potential switch to the Premier League. And Van Bronckhorst is delighted to have the 29-year-old on board once again, as he continues his preparations for another shot at the silverware at home and abroad. Van Bronckhorst said, "Of course it is going to be more difficult the more players that come to the end of their contracts, and Connor was becoming a free agent. I think he did fantastic for the team last season, and I was really happy that he chose to stay on. Of course he had the possibility to go to another club, and the Premier League is a big league for everyone. I think also Connor felt that what he has now at Rangers, everything in his life as well, I think in the end he wanted to continue his career here instead of going to another team, and I am happy because he is one of the pillars of this team." Report by Chris Jack. Evening Times Sport, July 14. Ian Poulter gets rough reception on the first tee as Open gets underway. LIV golf rebel Ian Poulter was booed on the first tee as the 150th Open Championship began at St Andrews. The 46-year-old is one of 24 players in the field who have signed up to the controversial Saudi-backed breakaway series and was the first of those to go out in the morning. Poulter's response was almost to miss the widest fairway in golf, with his mid-iron heading well left across the 18th fairway. His ball finished just a couple of yards short of the out-of-bounds line, which borders the links road on the fringe of the course. Poulter produced a good recovery, however, and made par at the 355-yard first. On the eve of the tournament, R&A Chief Executive Martin Slumbers insisted banning LIV golf rebels from next year's Open is not on the agenda, but has not ruled out changing the championship's entry criteria. In a surprisingly strongly worded statement, before taking questions in his traditional pre-tournament press conference, Slumbers said the Saudi-funded breakaway was entirely driven by money and not in the best long-term interests of the game. The PGA Tour has suspended members who have competed in the breakaway without permission, while the DP World Tour fined players £100,000 and banned them from last week's Genesis Scottish Open, but saw that temporarily stayed on appeal. The R&A announced last month LIV players who were exempt for the Open would be allowed to compete at St Andrews, following the stance taken by the United States GA in relation to the United States Open. but USGA Chief Executive Mike Hwan did admit he could foresee it becoming harder for LIV players to qualify in the future, a view echoed by Slumbers. Former champion Paul Lawrie had earlier got the action underway in cool conditions. The 53-year-old Scot, winner in 1999 at Carnoustie, and originally given the honour of teeing off first on the old course 12 years ago, was first off at 6:35 a.m. A prevailing wind from the west meant most of the outward nine was into the breeze, but it was not strong enough to cause any issues for the early starters, although it was forecast to pick up later in the day. Lawrie and his playing partners, Webb Simpson, the 2012 United States Open champion, and Min Woo Lee, all made par at the 355-yard first, but Lawrie three-putted the next for a bogey. Rory McIlroy, the 2014 champion and one of the favourites this week, was due off at 9:58 a.m. with defending champion Colin Morikawa and last week's Scottish Open winner Xander Schauffele was expecting St Andrews to play tough and get tougher. The Northern Irishman's assessment was, "I think with the condition of the golf course, with a little bit of breeze, you can bomb it around here and hit driver and get it close to the greens, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make birdies from those positions. I just think with the way the golf course is playing and how firm and fast it is, it's just going to get super tricky by the end of the week." Tiger Woods, a two-time Open winner at St Andrews, was an afternoon starter alongside newly crowned United States Open champion Matt Fitzpatrick and Max Homa. Report by the Press Association. Evening Times Sport, July 14. Celtic manager Postecoglou praised by Leeds boss. Report by Ewan Payton. Leeds boss Jesse Marsh has praised Ange Postecoglou and his coaching methods. The American spoke about the Celtic manager ahead of Leeds' pre-season tour in Australia. He waxed lyrical about the way the Aussie turned the hoops around last term, turning them into Premiership champions once more. Marsh reckons Postecoglou's style of football and his beliefs in how to set his team up to play the game are mightily impressive. He said, "I am a big admirer of Ange. I think the work he has done here in Australia, in Japan, and then in Scotland has been really, really good. What a great first year he had with Celtic. I love seeing people challenge themselves, have clear ideas, have teams that play in a very distinct manner and stay true to their identity. It is inspiring." Marsh also touched upon job links with Celtic in 2021. He said, "I've heard about the links. It's an honour for me. 3 or 4 years ago, being linked with a club like Celtic would literally be an impossibility for me. And now that is where I am. I always just try to look at it in terms of what would the project look like? Would we have similar ideas on how to build it the right way, invest in the academy, invest in young players, and create this development process that I'm talking about, and not just focus on winning? Obviously, I know that when you're the coach of Celtic, winning is the most important thing." Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, July 14. Juranovic addresses transfer speculation amid Atletico Madrid interest. Report by Mark Walker. Josip Juranovic admits he is flattered to have been linked with a huge move to Atletico Madrid, but says he's just desperate to play in the Champions League with Celtic. The Croatian international fullback was tipped to go to the La Liga giants after a hugely impressive first season with the Scottish champions. Atletico have made buying a new right-back a priority, and Celtic are desperate to keep Juranovic, who will be going to the World Cup in Qatar later this year. But in a TV interview with Zagreb-based RTL, Juranovic insisted he's counting down the days to play in the Champions League with Celtic. He said, "I hope there was something in the stories, but honestly, I didn't even ask our manager or anything about it. I didn't care. I have to keep my feet firmly on the ground. It was Atletico Madrid after all, but I'm at a big club already, Celtic. Finally, I have the chance to play in the Champions League, just to hear the atmosphere, that anthem, and to get to play at that stage. At Croatia, when you have a player like Josko Gvardiol, who has been mentioned to make an £80 million move as a teammate, you immediately gain great confidence being in the same side as someone like him. Then we have players like Martin Ehrlich, Josip Sutalo, and Josip Stanisic. They have all won good transfers to big clubs, so the future is bright for Croatian football." Report by Mark Walker. Evening Times Sport, July 14. Rangers youngster Kai Kennedy on loan move. Kai Kennedy has joined Falkirk on loan, and the 20-year-old will play the 2022-23 season in League One with the Bairns. Kennedy has plenty of lower league experience, having already had short spells with Inverness, Raith Rovers, Dunfermline and Hamilton. Falkirk manager John McGlynn previously worked with the attacker at Raith Rovers. Kennedy will wear the number 73 shirt for the promotion hopefuls. McGlynn said, "Kai is a player Paul and I have worked with previously at Raith Rovers. We enjoyed working with him, and he enjoyed working with us, and we hope that will be the same again. Kai gives us real competition in the wider areas. He can play at both sides and in a number 10 position. He is going to be in competition with the guys who are already in the team, and he needs to force himself in, which is exactly what he's going to try and do. It will breed good competition with others trying to play well to stay in the team. Kai has come here to do well. He wants to kick his career on, and we are looking to help him and all the other players here at Falkirk with that. We're still looking within the transfer market, and we're still hopeful that we'll be bringing others in. I would like to thank everyone at Rangers who has made this loan deal possible." Report by Ewan Payton. Evening Times Sport, July 15. Connor Goldson pinpoints Rangers star with world at his feet. Report by Chris Jack. Connor Goldson reckons Rangers star Calvin Bassey has got the world at his feet as clubs at home and abroad get set to step up their interest in the sought-after defender. Bassey enjoyed an incredible rise last season as he became an Ibrox stalwart and produced man-of-the-match performances in the Europa League and the Scottish Cup final. Dutch giants Ajax and Brighton and Hove Albion, as well as other Premier League sides, are targeting Bassey this summer in a deal that could be worth around £25 million. And Goldson has no doubt that Bassey will reach the very top of the game when he does decide it is time to leave Ibrox and take the next step in his career. Goldson said, "He has got everything. I probably shouldn't say it, but he can go wherever he wants to go. Whenever, that is, he'll end up having an unbelievable career. He's got attributes that you simply cannot train. Speed, strength. His left foot is amazing. He's literally got the lot. I was so happy for him given the season he had before when he got into a bit of trouble because of COVID. He came back, worked his socks off in pre-season, and I remember him saying to me that he wanted to start playing games regularly. Last summer he went away with a trainer and worked his socks off. He got his rewards in the end. He has got everything. You can't beat him 1 versus 1. He can attack, he can defend. He still has the raw side to him when he'll literally run through you. He's got the world at his feet. He just wants to learn and get better, and that's been the case with him from the moment he got here. The main thing now is that he's got these games behind him, and he's starting to build up that experience on the pitch. When you look back to when he first came, and I'm thinking about that St Mirren Cup game, he used to let things really affect him mentally, but now he's starting to level it out. He doesn't get too high when things are going well, and equally he doesn't get too low when things are going against him. Report by Chris Jack. Evening Times Sport, July 15. Joe Hart's high position could be a feature of Celtic's play. Report by Graham McGarry. Not content with pushing Joe Hart out of his comfort zone last season by making him take more responsibility with the ball at his feet, it appeared during Celtic's pre-season camp in Austria and the Czech Republic that he was attempting to convert the keeper into an auxiliary centre-half. It was striking just how high Hart was positioned in the friendly matches against Rapid Vienna and Baník Ostrava in particular, with the 35-year-old often only a few yards behind his defenders when Celtic were in possession, playing a full part in their build-up play. Given the team are still shaking off the cobwebs at this time of year, the gambit predictably led to a number of heart-in-the-mouth moments over the two games, particularly against Baník, when the opposition really should have scored twice after winning possession in midfield, with Hart miles from his unguarded goal. When pressed on the logic behind the high-risk strategy, Postecoglou said that the tactic may well be one he employs throughout the season, as and when he sees fit. Said Postecoglou, depending on the context of the game, Joe and the goalkeepers are getting used to our game plan. Last year he came in pretty late, and we didn't have a chance to work on a lot of things. It depends on the context of the game. There were a couple of times against Baník when he almost got caught out, but that was because of our sloppy passing. There is no denying, we want to be an aggressive team. To do that, it means everyone needs to be a bit more aggressive, and Joe, or whoever our goalkeeper is, needs to be a part of that. Postecoglou expects that the risk factor in having his keeper so high up the pitch will be eliminated when the rest of his team sharpen up a little. He said, "There is no risk when you don't give the ball away. The risk comes when you give it to the opposition. If we stop that, the risk doesn't happen. The times we gave the ball away on Wednesday were just sloppy, not because of pressure or them doing anything to us. They were just lapses in concentration, which should be eliminated pretty easily. Report by Graham McGarry. Evening Times Sport, July 15. The Open, Day 2. Rory McIlroy eager to build on promising start. World number 2 Rory McIlroy admits he cannot afford to let a promising start to the 150th Open Championship go to waste. The Northern Irishman, winner of the Claret Jug in 2014, is just 2 strokes behind leader Cameron Young, who fired 8 birdies in a flawless 64, a score only McIlroy himself has beaten in the first round of an Open on the Old Course. McIlroy's 63 came back in 2010 and was followed by an 80 in terrible weather, while an ankle injury suffered playing football prevented him from bidding to retain the Claret Jug at the same venue in 2015. It's another good start at a major, 3 in a row for me now, and I'm looking forward to the next few days, said McIlroy, who is well aware he has failed to turn those good starts into overdue wins, with a third-round 74 doing the damage in the United States PGA and a 73 at the same stage of the United States Open proving equally costly. He continued, I need to go out and back up what I just did. I think that's important to do. I have been playing well. I have been swinging the club well. And I think it's better if I don't think about it that much and I just go out and play golf and try to shoot some good scores on one of my favourite golf courses in the world. In stark contrast, 15-time major winner Tiger Woods started badly, hitting his approach from a fairway divot into the Swilcan burn at the first, and went on to carve just 3 birdies in a 6-over par round of 78, completed 6 hours and 8 minutes after teeing off. Evening Times Sport, July 15. Postecoglou gives assurances over Tom Rogic. Report by Graham McGarry. Ange Postecoglou has moved to ease concerns over former Celtic midfielder Tom Rogic after Australia head coach Graham Arnold expressed his fears over the 29-year-old's welfare. Rogic pulled out of the Australian squad for the recent World Cup playoff matches, citing personal reasons, and Arnold said he was worried after attempts to contact Rogic had gone unanswered. The player is currently a free agent after leaving Celtic in the summer and has since been pictured working on his fitness in Sydney. While Postecoglou has not been in contact personally with Rogic, the Celtic manager has been assured that he is okay. Said Postecoglou, I think Tom's fine. Has anyone spoken to Tom? No one spoke to him when he was here for 10 years either. That's Tom. I'd be more concerned if he was out there talking to people. Leave him alone. He's fine. He'll get his next move done, and I'm sure he's in a great place. As far as I know, and I haven't been in contact with him, but the people I know say that he's got no problems. Meanwhile, Postecoglou says he is unaware of Celtic's apparent plans to tour Japan next pre-season, with reports suggesting they will look to cash in on the manager's popularity in the country, as well as that of their 4 Japanese players, Kyogo, Ryo Hatate, Daisen Maeda, and Yosuke Ideguchi. He said, It's kind of followed me around, hasn't it? Australia, Japan, Greece will be next. That's not something that's on my radar at all. I haven't had any discussions, and I wouldn't be aware of any discussions. Our planning at this stage is for what we're going to do in November, because it's important for us. Next pre-season, we haven't discussed that yet. Report by Graham McGarry. Evening Times Sport, July 15. Rangers braced for Calvin Bassey bids. Report by David Irvin. Rangers are reportedly braced for a bidding war over Calvin Bassey, with Ajax and Brighton on a £25 million transfer collision course. The 22-year-old Nigeria international Bassey was a standout performer for the Ibrox side last season, both on the domestic and European stage. The defender, who is comfortable at left-back or centrally, also earned rave reviews for his showings for Nigeria before the summer break. Yesterday, The Telegraph claimed Ajax boss Alfred Schroeder is very charmed by Bassey, having already spoken extensively by telephone. It's also reported Premier League side Brighton have an interest in Bassey, with neither side lacking funds for a major transfer investment. Sky Sports claim initial talks over a transfer move have been held by both clubs. Should Bassey move on, then it will net Rangers a massive profit, with the club signing the player for a modest cross-border compensation fee from Leicester back in 2020. The Daily Record claim Rangers are demanding a fee of around £25 million to allow Bassey to move on this summer. Ajax reportedly view Bassey as a potential replacement for Lisandro Martinez, who is thought to be on the brink of a move to Manchester United. Discussing Bassey's situation during pre-season, Giovanni van Bronckhorst said, "You never know. Of course the potential he has is big. The potential also that a team will notice he has. He came in, he is very sharp, he is very energetic and happy. I think it is good for him to keep going and to give everything he has to this team, which he has done so far really well. I had the same. I came here in '98 after the World Cup and had 3 good years with Rangers, and then I moved on to Arsenal and to the Premier League. I think that is also a path that many players will do. If you see the squad, Joe Aribo played for 3 years, and we have reached a level now where I think he can reach another level, being involved in the strongest league in the world. We have Glenn Kamara as well, who is talented and came here. That is what you want as well, and that is also what being a successful team in Scotland brings with it. I am more than happy to help Calvin in his development and to make sure he comes to reach a level where everyone will say, well, the best thing for him is to move on. They are all winners. The club is a winner because we developed him and we will get a transfer fee, and the player as well. He will have a fantastic time here, then move on. Report by David Irvin. Evening Times Sport, July 15. Rangers close in on move for Bayern Munich midfielder. Report by Chris Jack. Rangers are set to clinch a loan move for Bayern Munich midfielder Malik Tillman. The 20-year-old has emerged as a key target for boss Giovanni van Bronckhorst as he seeks to bolster his options ahead of the new campaign. Times Sport understands Rangers are close to finishing a move to bring the highly rated Bundesliga kid to Glasgow. Rangers have added Antonio Kolak, Tom Lawrence and Rabbi Matendo to their ranks already this summer, and Tillman is now poised to become the fourth arrival and complete a season-long loan move to Ibrox. Tillman was born in Germany, but has chosen to represent the USA at international level and made his debut against Morocco earlier this year. The move for the playmaker is another major boost to Van Bronckhorst as Rangers count down to their Premiership opener with Livingston in a fortnight and Champions League qualifier next month. Report by Chris Jack. Evening Times Sport, July 15. St Mirren unveil new all-black away kit. Report by David Irvin. St Mirren unveiled their new all-black away kit for the upcoming season with help from Tell Me Something Good DJ Ewan McVicker. The Buddies revealed a full black away strip, with the strip featuring the paisley pattern, similar to the club's home shirt. Lifelong St Mirren supporter McVicker joined the kit launch with a video using his hit Tell Me Something Good, which spent 13 weeks in the UK charts. The short clip shows St Mirren first team, women's team and academy players partying inside the SMISA stadium as McVicker reveals the new strip. The blacked out strip will be worn by every St Mirren squad for the upcoming season. McVicker, who wears St Mirren gear while performing around the globe, said, "The new away kit is one of my favourite strips St Mirren has ever released. I can't wait to wear the new top this summer. At all the big gigs I have played, I've worn a piece of St Mirren kit to feel a sense of home. I have grown up supporting St Mirren, and it means the world to me to be walking through the tunnel being filmed wearing the new away top. It is unreal." Keith Lasley, Chief Operating Officer at St Mirren, added, "Unveiling a new strip is always exciting, but to have the support of such a huge fan with this broad appeal creates a special kind of buzz. Ewan has been really enthusiastic about working with us, and I know the team had a great day filming the launch video. I'm looking forward to seeing the new strips in the stands this coming season." The new strip is available for pre-order at www.stmirrendirect.co.uk/. Report by David Irvin. Evening Times Sport, July 18. Fiona McIntyre's appointment at SWPL means SFA looking for new head of girls and women's football. Report by Alan Campbell. Fiona McIntyre's appointment as SWPL Managing Director means the Scottish FA will again be looking for a new head of girls and women's football. Or does it? The post was created in 1998 and occupied by Sheila Begbie until she departed in 2014 to take up a similar post with Scottish Rugby. Begbie was a politically astute operator who lifted the status of the sport at a time when most in the Hampden hierarchy viewed it as something to be kept in its box. McIntyre, who was appointed 17 months ago after the post had been left vacant for the previous 18, was the driving force behind the girls' and women's strategy, which was published almost exactly a year ago. She also strengthened relationships with the SFA board and senior staff, but in March was seconded to the SPFL as interim managing director of the new SWPL. That became permanent last Tuesday, although it is understood that McIntyre may be required to see out her notice period at the SFA. The question for the governing body now is whether to find a like-for-like replacement or to recognise how much the landscape has changed in the last few years, never mind since 1998, when the job description was initially written. The recent advent of professionalism has created a clear distinction between the top clubs and the grassroots game. That was underlined by the former's decision to leave Scottish women's football and join the SPFL's subsidiary company. There may, therefore, be a view that it is no longer the best option to recruit a head of girls' and women's football whose responsibilities would continue to lie with both ends of the game. Creating two posts, with one helping SWF grow grassroots football and the other liaising with the top clubs to ensure the interests of the national team are being maximised, might be the way forward. The growing trend among the SWPL1 clubs to recruit players from other countries will have negative consequences for Scotland in the near future. It is, however, a reflection of the fact that there are very few young Scottish players of the required quality. A coherent youth development strategy, driven by the new SFA appointee and backed with the necessary funding, is overdue. Emsley is the hero, her first game for Angel City. So said the commentator at the end of the NWSL match between the aforesaid Angel City and San Diego Wave last Sunday. Claire Emsley scored 9 minutes from the end to give the far from angelic home side, they had a player sent off, a 2-1 win. It was Emsley's first club game since leaving Everton at the end of last season, and although she had been destined for Angel City much earlier through the American draft system, her signing was only announced 10 days ago. Angel City are based in Los Angeles, which means a Pacific instead of Atlantic outlook for Emsley. The 28-year-old spent 3 years at university in Florida, before later joining Orlando Pride between her spells at Manchester City and Everton. Her new club is almost literally that, as this is their first season in the NWSL. They were founded in July 2020 by several, it is LA after all, showbiz and sporting celebrities, including Natalie Portman, Mia Hamm and Serena Williams. Alison Swaby, the older sister of departing Rangers central defender Chantel, is also in a squad which has won 5 and drawn 4 of their first 11 games in America's top league to sit 5th in the table. The club's sporting director is former 102 times capped England forward Ine Aluko, and there was a sellout 22,000 crowd at the Bank of California stadium they share with MLS side Los Angeles FC for the win over San Diego Wave. The intention had been to provide more insight on this interesting club, but while its owners may be A-list, the response to my media inquiry was in the Z spectrum. We are approaching the halfway point of the Euros, and so far the tournament in England has been a resounding success. The group games have been mostly entertaining with plenty of goals. The quality of play continues to rise as professionalism becomes the norm at this level, and the quarter-finals will start on Wednesday with a hugely enticing tie between the hosts and Spain. The BBC's coverage has also been very good. The games are being given the status they deserve, while female commentators and pundits from a number of countries have provided a refreshing change from the usual pale, male, stale and cliché-ridden suspects, says Alan Campbell. Evening Times Sport, July 18. LIV question remains for Cameron Smith after stunning Open win. Australia's Cameron Smith faces questions about his future after claiming his maiden major title in brilliant fashion in the 150th Open Championship at St Andrews. Smith overturned a 4-shot deficit courtesy of his second 64 in the space of 3 days. The 28-year-old from Brisbane finishing 20 under par to beat the previous record on the old course of 19 set by Tiger Woods in 2000. An 8th birthday of the day on the 18th gave Smith a one-shot victory over playing partner Cameron Young, who eagled the final hole, with 54-hole co-leader Rory McIlroy a shot further back following a closing 70. Said Smith, who declined the chance to deny reports linking him to the Saudi-backed LIV Golf Series in his winner's press conference. I think to win an Open Championship in itself is probably going to be a golfer's highlight in their career. To do it around St Andrews, I think, is just unbelievable. It is unreal to look at these names on this trophy and then add mine. I'm lost for words. I'm definitely going to find out how many beers fit in this thing. That's for sure. Asked about the possibility of joining the breakaway LIV Golf Series, which is spearheaded by fellow Australian and two-time Open champion Greg Norman, Smith said, I just won the British Open, and you're asking about that. I think that's pretty not good. Pressed on whether he was interested in joining, Smith added, I don't know, mate. My team around me worries about all that stuff. I'm here to win golf tournaments. Smith's one-stroke victory owed as much to his remarkable par save on the 17th as it did to his putting display. The Australian's approach to the road hole, the most difficult on the course for the last 3 days, finished behind the fearsome bunker. He had no way of going for the flag, so putted up around the bowl of the trap to about 8 feet and holed for a 4. A drop shot there would have opened the door for the chasing Rory McIlroy. Smith, starting 4 shots back, crucially did not drop a shot all day. After just 2 birdies on the front 9, he sprang to life after the turn, with a remarkable run of 5 successive gains, the longest for a player in the final round of the Open in 21 years, which turned the tide in his favour. A birdie at the last realistically took McIlroy's chances of forcing a playoff out of the Northern Irishman's hands. Statistic of the day. Since records began, McIlroy is the only player to hold the 54-hole lead as a major, hit every green in regulation in the final round, and not win. Toughest hole. The 495-yard par 4 17th, played as the toughest hole for the 3rd day running, yielding 4 birdies with 27 bogeys and 13 double bogeys or worse, resulting in a scoring average of 4.37. Easiest hole. The drivable 570-yard par 5 5th. There were 6 eagles, 45 birdies, and just 7 bogeys, for a scoring average of 3.24. Evening Times Sport, July 18. Van Bronckhorst provides Morelos update and details Rangers injury worries. Report by Chris Jack. Giovanni van Bronckhorst is still sweating on the fitness of a handful of key Ibrox stars as Rangers prepare for their final week of pre-season action. The Light Blues were 2-1 winners over Blackpool on Saturday, as goals from Borna Barisic and Charlie McCann saw them ease to a deserved win thanks to an improved second-half showing. Van Bronckhorst was without the likes of Alfredo Morelos and Philip Helander for the trip to Bloomfield Road, as they continue on the road to recovery this summer. Fashion Sakala and Alex Lowry also missed out against the Seasiders, and Rangers will now turn their attentions to the visits of West Ham United and Tottenham in the coming days. Van Bronckhorst said, "For some players, it was their first game of pre-season, and I was really happy nearly everyone could feature and get minutes. We prepare now for a big week because we are playing two really good quality opponents. After that, we prepare for the start of the season. Morelos is doing partial training with the team now. Philip is still not training with us. He had a setback, so we have to wait and see how that is developing. Fashion got a knock in training on Thursday. He trained Friday but wasn't feeling 100%, so we decided not to take him. Alex is still in recovery." Report by Chris Jack. Evening Times Sport, July 18. Rangers discover their opponents in Champions League. Report by Ewan Payton. Rangers have discovered their opponents for the third qualifying round of the Champions League. Giovanni van Bronckhorst's men will face Union San Gilloise in the next round of qualifying for UEFA's top club competition. Rangers enter the tournament through the league path in the Champions League third qualifying round, with the aim of progressing through to the group stage. The Ibrox club was seeded for the draw. Their potential opponents included FC Midtjylland or AEK Larnaca, Monaco, Storm Graz, and Union San Gilloise. The draw took place this morning and was held at UEFA's headquarters in Nyon in Switzerland. The first leg will be played on August 2 or 3, with the return leg taking place on August 9. Report by Ewan Payton.
And that was this week's Glasgow Times Sport podcast, normally recorded in our studio at the Bishopbriggs Media Centre, currently recorded from our volunteers' homes with the publisher's kind permission. Thanks for listening.